You've just walked into a room, and suddenly you remember where you left your keys. It's like the brain has a built-in search engine. But it's not just about data. It's about experience. Memories aren't stored like files on a computer. They're more like a tangled web of neurons, each firing in a unique pattern to recall a moment. When you remember something, it's not just your brain retrieving a memory. It's re-experiencing it, like rewinding a film in your mind. But what happens when a memory fades? Is it gone forever, or is it just waiting to be rekindled by the right trigger? The biology of remembering is more than just a memory. It's the story of who you are, shaped by the past, and stored in the most complex system in the known universe. So what exactly are we talking about? Memories are not just things we recall. They're complex processes that involve different parts of the brain working in harmony. When you remember something, it's like the brain is replaying a movie from its own internal library. This process starts with encoding, turning sensory information into a memory. Think of it like taking a snapshot of a moment, but the brain does it with chemical signals and electrical impulses that travel through neurons. Once encoded, memories are stored in different regions of the brain. The hippocampus acts like a temporary filing cabinet, organizing and transferring memories to long-term storage in the cortex. But memories aren't just static. They're like dynamic files that can be updated, distorted, or even restructured. That's why sometimes you remember a memory differently than it actually happened. So when we talk about remembering, we're talking about a series of intricate steps: encoding, storage, retrieval, and even modification, each governed by the brain's biological machinery. You might think memories are just stories you tell yourself, but they're actually your brain's way of predicting the future. Every time you remember something, you're essentially running a simulation of past experiences to make sense of the present. This means your memories shape how you react to new situations. If you remember a time you got lost in a city, you might now avoid unfamiliar streets, even if you've never been there before. When you forget something, it's not because your brain is broken. It's because your brain is working too well. It's choosing what to keep and what to let go, based on what's most useful for you now. So, secretly, your brain is a master of prediction, survival, and self-awareness, all through the power of memory. And you're the only one who can decide what to remember and what to forget. Let's rewind. In the 1950s, scientists began to map the brain's memory systems using electrodes in animals. They discovered that the hippocampus was critical for forming new memories, but it wasn't where they were stored. In the 1970s, the idea of memory consolidation took shape. Scientists realized memories weren't just stored in one place. They were processed, stabilized, and spread across different brain regions. Then came the 1990s and the discovery of the engram. Scientists began to identify specific brain cells that were activated during memory recall, showing that memories are stored in physical patterns of neurons. In the 2000s, neuroimaging tools like fMRI allowed researchers to see memory formation in action. We could watch the brain reactivating past experiences, proving that memories are not just stored, they're replayed. And today, we're still unraveling the mysteries of memory. From Alzheimer's research to memory-enhancing drugs, the journey to understand how the brain remembers is as much about the past as it is about the future. So imagine your brain is like a big, busy library. Every time you learn something new, it's like you're putting a book on a shelf. But instead of books, it's memories. And instead of shelves, it's special areas in your brain. When you want to remember something, your brain looks for that book, just like you search for a book on a shelf. But it doesn't just find it. It also checks if it's still there and if it needs to be reorganized. Sometimes the book is a bit dusty or the shelf is a little messy. That's why you might forget something. But your brain is smart. It keeps trying to find the book, and sometimes it even adds new shelves to make it easier. So, your brain is like a library that never sleeps. It's always learning, storing, and finding memories. And you? You're the one who gets to explore it and make new memories every day. So let's start with the very first step in memory formation, the setup. When you encounter something new, your brain begins to prepare for storing that information. This happens in the prefrontal cortex, which acts like a temporary workspace where your brain organizes and prepares the information for storage. This focused attention helps the brain decide which information is worth keeping and which can be ignored. Once the information is organized and focused, it's ready to be sent to the next part of the memory process, encoding. This setup is crucial. It's the foundation that makes memory formation possible. When we recall a memory, the brain reactivates the same neural pathways that were used to encode it. This process, called reconsolidation, strengthens the memory trace by replaying the neural activity. This reactivation isn't just a passive replay. It's a dynamic process where the brain updates and integrates the memory with new information, making it more robust over time. During retrieval, the brain also accesses related memories, creating a web of associations that helps us recall details more vividly. These associations are stored in the hippocampus, which acts like a temporary memory hub, linking new information to existing knowledge before it's consolidated into long-term memory. So the second step in memory retrieval isn't just about recalling. It's about reconstructing and re-experiencing the memory through the brain's intricate network of connections. Now, here's the clever twist. The brain doesn't just store memories like a library. Instead, it uses a process called memory consolidation, where the brain reorganizes and strengthens memories over time. During sleep, especially REM sleep, the brain replays and restructures memories, embedding them deeper into the cortex for long-term storage. This clever reorganization allows the brain to filter out irrelevant details, keeping only the most meaningful parts of the memory. It's not a perfect process. Sometimes memories get distorted, but that's part of what makes human memory so fascinating and unique. So, the brain doesn't just store memories. It refines them, restructures them, and even reimagines them, ensuring they survive the test of time. At the heart of memory, there's a silent symphony of neurons firing in perfect rhythm, encoding experiences like a digital song stored in the brain's neural orchestra. These patterns of activity are what the brain uses to build a map of reality. Each memory is like a unique fingerprint, imprinted across vast networks of synapses. But memory isn't just about storage. It's also about retrieval, a process that's as much about reactivating old patterns as it is about making new sense of them. The brain doesn't just recall memories as static snapshots. It rewrites them, sometimes reshaping the story to fit new context, emotions, or even false details. This is why memories can fade, distort, or even be created from thin air. The brain is constantly interpreting, not just recording, the world around it. So imagine your brain is like a library, but not the kind with rows of books. It's more like a giant, ever-changing warehouse of memories, where the same space can be rearranged for different purposes. When you remember something, it's like a worker pulls a box from the shelf, opens it, and reads the contents aloud. But the box might have been moved, reshaped, or even partially rebuilt since the last time you looked. You can't always trust what you read, because the box might have changed. But that's okay. The brain is built for this kind of flexibility. It doesn't store memories as perfect copies, but as adaptive stories. So the brain isn't a filing cabinet. It's more like a storyteller, constantly updating and reinterpreting the same raw material. And that's why we remember things differently over time, because the story keeps evolving. In the end, the brain's memory system is gloriously dumb, but it's also gloriously effective. It's like a warehouse that never stops reorganizing, and you're the only one who ever gets to use it. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end. You wake up one morning and realize you've forgotten the name of your childhood best friend. It's not just a moment of confusion. It's a glimpse into the fragile, mysterious nature of memory itself. We all experience memory loss in some form. But what does it really mean when a memory slips away? Is it a failure of the mind, or is there something more complex at play? The brain isn't designed to store every detail of our lives. Instead, it selectively retains what it deems important, often altering or omitting details in the process. Understanding forgetting isn't just about curiosity. It's about reclaiming control over our own minds, and perhaps even our identities. Today, we're diving into the psychology of forgetting, not as a flaw, but as a natural, even essential part of how the human mind works. When we talk about forgetting, we're not just referring to the occasional lost key or forgotten name. We're peering into the very structure of memory itself, how our brains store, retrieve, and sometimes lose information. Memory isn't a single system, but a network of processes: encoding, consolidation, retrieval. Each step is fragile, and when one fails, the memory fades or vanishes entirely. The act of forgetting is often misunderstood as a failure, but in reality, it's a crucial part of cognitive efficiency. Our brains selectively forget to make room for what matters. There's a difference between forgetting and memory loss. The former is natural, even adaptive. The latter, however, can be a sign of something deeper, like aging, trauma, or neurological change. Understanding forgetting means understanding our brain's capacity and its limits. It's not about losing who we are, but about how we choose to remember and how we choose to forget. You might think forgetting is just a flaw, but it's actually a vital part of how your mind functions. Your brain is constantly pruning unnecessary information to make room for what matters. Forgetting isn't the enemy. It's a survival mechanism. Imagine trying to remember every single thing you've ever learned. That would drown your mind in noise, not clarity. But here's the twist. The more you try to remember, the more you risk losing. Your brain isn't a storage vault. It's a dynamic system that evolves with your needs. What you choose to forget can shape your identity. The memories you hold on to define who you are, and the ones you let go of can be the key to growth, not just loss. So, if you're forgetting something important, it's not a mistake. It's a signal. Your brain is trying to tell you what needs to be prioritized and what can be left behind. The roots of forgetting stretch back to ancient civilizations, where memory was both a tool and a burden. The Greeks saw it as a form of divine punishment, a test of the soul's resilience against time. In medieval times, forgetting was often blamed on the mind's fragility, a failing of the spirit rather than the body. Monks recorded their thoughts in prayer books, believing that repetition could strengthen the mind against decay. The 19th century brought the first scientific attempts to measure memory. Researchers like Ebbinghaus used nonsense syllables to quantify forgetting, revealing its mathematical patterns. In the early 20th century, psychology shifted from philosophy to science. The discovery of the hippocampus and the role of neurons in memory solidified the idea that forgetting is a biological process, not just a failure of will. Today, we understand forgetting as an evolutionary advantage, a mechanism that clears the mind to make room for new experiences. But the past still lingers, shaping how we see memory as both a gift and a loss. Imagine your brain is a library, and your memories are the books. But instead of shelves, your brain has a system that moves books around. Sometimes it forgets where they are. When you learn something new, your brain tries to store it. But if it doesn't use it often, it might not remember where it put the book. It just leaves it in the wrong place. But the brain isn't lazy. It's trying to save space. If something isn't important, it might just let go of it. That's how we forget things we don't need. You can help your brain remember things by using them often, like reading a book again or repeating a fact. It's like cleaning up your room so you can find your toys easier. So when you forget something, it's not because your brain is broken. It's just trying to manage all the things you've ever learned, and you can help it remember with a little effort. Before a memory can be lost, it must first be formed. This process begins in the moment of experience, when sensory input meets the mind's intricate web of neurons. The brain encodes this moment into a fragile neural pattern, linking sensations, thoughts, and emotions into a coherent structure. It's like building a temporary bridge between perception and memory. The brain then attempts to consolidate this memory, reinforcing the neural pathways that make it more permanent. This is the first step in the journey from a fleeting experience to a lasting memory. However, this consolidation is not a perfect process. The brain doesn't just store memories like a library, it's more like a reconstruction. And this is where the first cracks in memory can begin. In the first step of forgetting, the memory is still present, but it's vulnerable. It can fade, distort, or be overwritten by new experiences, setting the stage for what comes next. Once the memory is formed, it doesn't sit quietly in the brain. Instead, it's constantly being reactivated, shaped by new experiences and emotions, like a river that carves its path through rock over time. This constant reactivation weakens the neural connections that hold the memory in place. Like a trail through the forest, it becomes less distinct with every step, until it's nearly invisible. When we don't access a memory, it's like letting the lights go out in a room. The details fade, the structure weakens, and eventually, the memory can vanish entirely. But the process isn't entirely passive. The brain actively seeks to make sense of the world, often reshaping memories to fit new contexts, even if that means distorting or forgetting them. This is why forgetting is not a failure. It's an essential part of how the mind manages the overwhelming flood of information we encounter every day. The clever twist comes when the brain decides not to store the memory at all. It's like a filter that blocks certain experiences from ever entering the long-term vault, sparing us from the burden of too many details. This selective forgetting is not a flaw, but a necessary mechanism. It allows the mind to prioritize what is important, filtering out the noise of everyday life. This is where the brain's power lies, not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. It's a quiet act of curation, shaping our mental landscape with intention and purpose. The clever twist is a reminder that forgetting is not a loss, but a choice. It's the brain's way of preserving itself, of making room for what truly matters. By understanding this twist, we can better navigate our own memories, not as something to be fought against, but as a natural, even graceful part of the mind's design. The brain isn't a vault, but a dynamic system, constantly pruning and reshaping itself. Memories are not stored in isolated cells, but are instead patterns of neural activity that fade if not rehearsed. This process is not random. It's guided by what the brain deems important. We forget things that are irrelevant, outdated, or simply not reinforced by experience. The hippocampus acts as a gatekeeper, deciding which memories move from short-term to long-term storage. But even then, it's not infallible. Some memories fade, others distort, and a few vanish entirely. Yet, the brain's ability to forget is not a flaw, it's a survival mechanism. It frees up cognitive space, allows for learning, and helps us navigate a world of ever-changing stimuli. We can't stop the brain from forgetting, but we can work with it. By understanding the science behind memory loss, we can design better ways to retain what matters and let go of what doesn't. Imagine a library filled with millions of books, each one a memory. But the shelves are not organized, and the librarian is distracted. Every time you try to find a book, they shuffle the shelves, making it harder to locate what you need. You think you know where the book is, but the moment you reach for it, the shelves shift, and the book disappears. It's not gone. It's just moved, like memory in the mind. This isn't just about forgetting. It's about the mind's attempt to manage the overwhelming amount of information it receives daily. It's a system in constant motion, not a static archive. The mind forgets not because it's broken, but because it's trying to protect itself. It's a form of survival, a way to make space for what truly matters. So, in the end, the library is still full, but we're just not looking in the right places, or at the right time. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.